It's Friday! Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. We are about to embark on another weekend of preseason football, I know. Anyways, okay. Let's get to it. Let's get to it, shall we? As we're on the 26th of August, 2022. Okay. So preseason, blah, blah, blah. Starters aren't playing. Backups mostly playing. So why, Drew, should we watch the Cardinals at the Titans tomorrow night? I'm going to give you 3 reasons why. 3. Number one. The number one main reason is because it's your favorite team playing football. The Arizona Cardinals are playing football. The Redbirds with the red beak pointing at you. Playing football. That's why. That is the biggest reason why. We get to watch our favorite team play football. And it's pretty cool seeing guys, playing, as Ron Wolfley call it, the blood sport. Number 2, I want to see how some of the guys, some of the young guys are going to do, especially like Benjamin. He's going to make the team. But still, you want to see some of the guys who could be contributors who maybe is not, who's maybe not going to be being stars. Kyler's not going to play and DeAndre Hopkins not going to play. We've been talking about that. None of these guys are going to play in the preseason. But still, there's going to be some guys who could be key contributors to the team. Maybe a couple of guys coming up under the radar that that we want to see perform. And number 3, come on, guys. We want to see Kyler Murray call plays again. 14 points last game. Come on, Kyler. How about you lead the Cards on a game-winning touchdown drive? How about that? That'd be pretty cool, huh? I think it would. It's better than 1 helmet toss. 2 helmet tosses. Look at Aaron Donald just acting like a madman, swinging that Cincinnati Bengals helmet at Cincinnati Bengal players. Myles Garrett got suspended for the rest of the regular season a couple years ago when he did this to Mason Rudolph. But since it was at a practice, it is up to the teams, according to the NFL, to imply discipline, not the league. Which, this might not be a popular reaction. I see on Twitter, all of the Cardinals beat writers are like, suspend Aaron Donald. It's mostly, you don't want Aaron Donald, who's haunted our dreams for the last 8 years, to play against the Cardinals in Week 3. That would be awesome. But, not looking at it from a biased perspective, I bet this happens at joint practices and regular practices more than you think. It's just the power of social media. Everybody has a camera on their phone. So any fan, reporter, who's maybe in there can film, this was obviously visible to the public, So, I don't know. I have some mixed emotions on it. I can see Aaron Donald should definitely be fined and probably suspended. But, I don't think I think this is more common than we think. And I think people need to stop, freaking out thinking that, that this doesn't happen. Because trust me, I've heard stories of just violent, crazy training camp fights, and when you're in the heat of battle, I will say this: don't make Aaron Donald angry. Just don't do it. I just want to say I miss Larry Fitzgerald on the Arizona Cardinals roster. The presence he just brought to himself every day. Obviously a consummate professional. Just played hard. It's still crazy that he had significant amount more tackles than drop passes in his illustrious career, which is pretty amazing. Obviously, he's gonna be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's gonna be the first Arizona Cardinal to ever be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Remember Aeneas Williams? It took him a couple tries. Anyways, so history of the Arizona Cardinals Part 6 recap. We talk about Super Bowl 43, the greatest sports moment of my life, followed by the worst sports moment of my life. Last year, Aaron Francisco. Get better cleats, buddy. Kevin Cobb, Derek Anderson, John Skeldon. Gross. A lot of gross. I mean, there's been a lot of gross in the Arizona Cardinals history. But as we recap it, we start to go into the Bruce Arians years, which really since, I would say, 2013, the Arizona Cardinals have actually been a pretty well-run, successful NFL team. I know they haven't made a Super Bowl in that period, and have only made the playoffs 3 times, but the Cardinals have had consistent competitive teams. It's crazy. You talk about, I'll give you a stat. So the first 25 years the Cardinals were in Arizona, 13 of those 25 years they went 5-11 or worse. Since 2013, outside of the Josh Rosen disaster, which we will discuss in part 7 of the history of the Arizona Cardinals, the Cardinals have had, that was the only 2018 since 2013, that was the only season the Cardinals have lost 11 plus games. They've been, perennially competitive and have a winning record since 2013. So it's almost going on 10 years. I mean, obviously, I'm about to give my predictions for the Arizona Cardinals and the rest of the NFC West in 2022, but I'll let you know I'll give you a little hint. The Cardinals will, in my opinion, have a winning record this season, so they'll continue to trend. Anyways, next part. All right, everyone. We are here, the NFC West Predictions. We made it, everyone. I know all of the Cards Nation was kind of curious who I had in the NFC West. So here is what we predicted back in May, going through all of the games. The Rams at 12-5. I think the Rams are still going to be 12-5. Actually, I'm going to give the Rams 13-4. Even with Mr. Helmet Tosser, Aaron Donald. I mean, the Rams, they're a top-heavy team, but the thing is, I don't know what they're doing. They're training in Los Angeles, maybe like the light practices. I don't know. Sean McVay's fairy dust. I have no clue. But the Rams, seems like they never have any significant injuries. It seems like they're always been primarily healthy. I mean, they're the Super Bowl champs. I mean, I know that Stafford's elbow is kind of a little bit of a concern. Not to me. I think the Rams are going to be just fine. I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. Again, obviously, if I had to pick right now, I'm probably going to take the Rams over the Bills in Week 1. Bills aren't going to lose very many games, but that's one of them they probably will lose. Tough spot for the Bills. I mean, the Rams are going to be fired up coming off their Super Bowl win. Next is the 49ers, 11-6. I'm actually going to knock them down a game, to 10-7. This is the Trey Lance factor. Now, the Niners have probably about as good as a roster as the Rams, to be honest with you. Maybe even better. I mean, they have so many just ballers. And, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk has been amazing in camp. The defense, obviously. The Niners have players on every level, even though the Jimmy Ward injury is concerning. He's probably going to miss the first 4 weeks, but the Niners' schedule to start is actually pretty favorable. So I think 10-7 is a pretty fair assessment of the Niners, saying that Trey Lance is going to have some ups and some downs, but I think the Niners are just too much talent for them to not be a playoff team. Our Arizona Cardinals, the Cardinals' schedule is brutal. I mean, if you think about it, they're two conference non-division games. I mean, the Rams with the Cowboys, Packers is slightly tougher, but come on, I mean, the Cardinals have to play, the Niners are getting the Bears and the Washington football team, whereas the Cardinals are getting the Vikings in Minnesota, which is a very tough place to win, and the Philadelphia Eagles, who many people, including myself, think are going to win the NFC East. So the Cardinals have, as we know, especially to start, that first 5 weeks without DeAndre Hopkins is brutal, and it's vital that the Cardinals start 2-3, 3-2, which I think they will. I don't think they're going to lose all of their first 3 games. I think they'll win at least one of them. So I'm going to take the Cardinals up to 10-7. I think this is a team. I actually think I'm trusting in you, Cliff Kingsbury, that actually this is the year that the Cardinals actually play better in the second half than the first half, because the schedule is more favorable down the stretch for the Cardinals this season, especially in the middle. Schedule's pretty soft in the middle, but even towards the back, they play the Patriots late, play the Falcons late. They have some bad teams on their schedule. Remember, I think the Patriots are going to be a bad team this year. All right, and the Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks are on the clock. The Seattle Seahawks are on the clock. They're going to be terrible. I mean, like Russell Wilson, the Seahawks. I mean, their defense, they can't rush the passer. On offense, they can't really block. They're thinking of going with Geno Smith at quarterback. Oh man, Pete Carroll, you might be outie after this year. The Seahawks, they're not going to win a game in the division. They're not going to stand against any of these teams. Maybe there's a game where they surprisingly almost beat the Niners or Cardinals. But the Seahawks are bad football team. And I think they're going to be the worst team in the league at 2-15. So my NFC playoff teams are, as stands, The Packers at 13-4 is the number 1 seed. For the 3rd straight year, the Packers get the bye. The Rams at 13-4, as I said, I think the Devontae Adams loss is a little bit overrated here. Aaron Rodgers is going to be just fine. The Rams at 13-4, the Rams are still going to be good. The Bucs, as I said, kind of taking a step back, but the division's so bad they'll still win that division comfortably at 10-7. Eagles squeaking by over the Cowboys at 9-8 to win the division. And your wild cards are going conference record. I think the Cardinals will probably go 2. I think the Cardinals and Niners probably go each like 2-3 against the AFC, and the Lions will probably go 3-2 against the AFC. So because of that, I say the Cardinals have a better division record. Say the Niners, this is the year the Niners struggle with the Rams, and I think the Cardinals are at least going to beat the Rams one time. That Week 3 game actually at Arizona, I think the Cards are going to get them. So Cardinals, better division record over the Niners, and the Lions. That's my surprise team in all of football. The Lions winning 10 games with a very favorable schedule. Sometimes look at the schedules, and I think the Lions have a very favorable, gettable schedule. 4th place schedule. They're playing a lot of bad teams. Lions get to 10-7 and sneak in the playoffs over the Vikings, who will be right behind them at 9-8. As you can see, the AFC so has 6 different playoff teams from last year. 5 of the 6 new teams in the AFC. In the AFC, the only 2 teams that have returned in the playoffs is the Chiefs and the Bills. Otherwise, it's a completely different slate of teams. In the NFC, 6 of the 7 teams returning. Obviously, 3 of the 4 same division winners, with the Eagles overtaking the Cowboys. So the Lions for the Cowboys is the only team, believe it or not, 6 of these 7 teams made the playoffs last year. I think the NFC is more top-heavy than you think. I think there's a lot of decent teams to not great teams. I think the Rams and the Packers are the only really, really good teams in the NFC. Whereas the bottom, between the Seahawks, Giants, Bears, and Falcons, you could argue those are the 4 worst teams in all of football, and they're all in the NFC. Which means that these top teams are going to feast on them. And then there's some, you got the Cowboys and the Vikings. And as I said, Carolina will be a little bit better, kind of in the middle. Anyways, those are my NFC playoff teams. I want to thank everyone for watching the show this week. Next week, I'm only going to be on Monday and Tuesday. I'm taking a vacation, traveling out of state for the week. So Monday, Tuesday, I'll be on the air next week. And then the following Tuesday, I'm going to be taking you home. I'll be on the air 3 days that week, and then normal 4 days through this whole season. It's going to be amazing. I love doing this channel. I love talking to all of you. I love you responding to me. Please like and subscribe. Anyways, so on Fridays during the fall, I started this last year, since this channel started last year, we would do Drew's Fat 5 picks, and I did pretty well last year. I finished at 58%, which is like expert gambling level. You remember, I actually took a slide at the end of the year, but here's how it works. I had to pick 5 games, and if I have a winning record or better, I get a reward. If I don't, I get a punishment. We got some good ideas for punishments. Usually I'll dance or eat something gross, or or torture myself. I don't know. Well, you'll have to see. Hopefully I'm not punishing myself too much. Hopefully I'm going to eat a lot of Cheez-Its and do a lot of cool celebration things. But anyways, so the first couple weeks, since the NFL season isn't starting, normally I do 4 NFL games and 1 college game when I'm doing this. But since we only have and not many college games, I think there's like a dozen maybe tomorrow. But for week 0, we are going to pick a game, and it's pretty much as simple as this. I get it right, I get a reward. I get it wrong, I get punished. Vanderbilt at Hawaii. So Vanderbilt over there in Tennessee, let's just be honest, they stink. They stink. I know they're an SEC team, but Vanderbilt stinks. And Vanderbilt's having to travel all the way across the world to Hawaii. And Hawaii's getting 9.5. The Rainbow Warriors are getting 9.5 at home, with Vanderbilt probably going to be all sleepy, from studying and sleeping from studying on the plane. Their brains are going to be a little bit mush by the time they get on the field. Give me Hawaii plus 9.5. That's Drew's pick of the week. Remember last year, I did really well in the college games, so let me brush that dirt off my shoulder. Anyways, follow me at Stu Drew. Talk to you next week. Bye.